if I'm gonna lay out my control points, I will not lay out a control point if my error is a 1/4 inch or greater. Mainly because if I do, that control point's gonna start out with a 1/4 inch bust into somewhere or greater. So if I'm gonna set my own control points, my error has to be tight. 0, a 16th, or an 1/8. You know what I'm saying? Just as an example, let's say we wanted to add a control point right here. After you shoot your initial control points and get an awesome setup, leave your settings drop down to a 16th and stay in high precision mode, and that will allow you to shoot that control point as accurately as you possibly can. After you tag as many control points as you want, of course, then you can go back in your settings and jump those up to a 1/4 or whatever it is that you're doing. But to do that, like I said, we're in measure and collect. Of course, this is where you would go and just put the pole down wherever you want to shoot that point. Go to your input button. Like I said, it's a great habit to get into. Anytime you create data in your model, go to your input button first and define it how you want. You know what I'm saying? That way you can make damn sure that it's got the description it needs, so you can remember what's going on and know what it is. So right here, like I said, you could put CP, whatever. Close that out, and if you wanted to add that triangle in there, tag that control button. But at this point, you just walk up, bubble up on that point, or you know, the X you just marked down, take your shot. I mean, you can do a little test one if you want. I mean, like I said, it's pretty simple, so you don't necessarily have to. So when you're in the measure and collect mode, when this button is selected, you're just shooting and storing a point at a time. If you select that, let's see. Let's walk over here a little bit, try to put that, hang on, let me just see where we're going. All right, yeah, let's come over here, that way y'all can see it a little better. All right, so when this button is selected, it'll still allow you to shoot and store one point at a time, but when you go to your next point, it'll connect the line. So just for the hell of it, hey, we don't have to bubble up or nothing. I just want to show you guys how it works. All right, so now, so you see how it'll show you where the line is going to be drawn before you stake that next point out. So when you shoot it, if you zoom in, it connects the dots. So if you were, I don't know, let's say you're in the building, excuse me, you got some duck hung, and down the way a little bit it collides with some plumber's something, or electrician's conduit or something like that. If you felt the need to maybe do an as-built on your duck, you know, that way you could shoot it and send it to the CAD guy so he can maybe move stuff around. I'd recommend shooting it with that, because that way you can tag a few shots on the duck and it'll draw the line work in, possibly making it a little easier for your CAD guy to figure out what's up and go from there. This button right here, to be honest, I don't think y'all would use that much as sheet metal guys, but with that allows you to shoot an arc to where you could see the curve. Okay. Now, of course, there's nothing out here we can do a little test run on that, but keep in mind, so I usually use the example as just like some kind of pipe or something. Let's say we got a straight run going down this way, and then at 90s, let's go with that. So we got a straight run at 90s. If we wanted to shoot that and also shoot that arc into where, let's say, our CAD guy could see that curve, on the straight run of the pipe, I would recommend shooting those points with the line button selected. Again, that way you can see the straight run. And then right before you get to the arc, select your arc button, and I can't really say how many points to shoot on the arc. In most cases, I would say 3 to 5. Of course, the bigger the arc, the more shots you might have to take on it. That way you can accurately see that curve. But yeah, so that's what's up with this button. This camera, if you turn that on, of course I would come over here, but when you turn that camera on now, you can use that feature with Prism mode, but I think it's a little more logical of an idea to use it in laser mode. But how it works, when you turn that camera on, let's say we had that laser pointed at one of those ladder rungs, or just, let me use a better example, on that porta-can door. So if we hit the shoot button and that laser is pointed at something, it'll take that shot, of course give you X and Y, Z and coordinate value, but also take a picture right after that. Okay. So, Here, let's just do it, and then that way I can show you where the pictures are stored in case you had to maybe email that picture out if there was a collision or some type of conflict like that. So see, now it's taking the picture, and that's going to be in your Trimble Field Link folder under Jobs.
Okay.
Excuse me, under Images. All right, so we can turn that camera off, go to More, and Minimize. So there's your job shortcut, so that's good. So we can go to File Explorer, Documents, Trimble Field Link. You see that?
Yeah,
Images.
yeah.
So it'll create a folder that's the same name as your job. In there, collected data.
And there's the photo.
Yeah, and there's your pic.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. Has all the points hanging up.
Yeah, that way you can also see the other points in that general area.
That's wild.
So, that's your little camera there. So, let's see where to go next. Let's go to More. Reports, let's go over that real quick. So this is not something that everybody's a fan of. This is more for the people that either layout guys or maybe the big guys, you know, the bosses and stuff like that, want to check on progress, see what you've done and how long it took you. So if you go to daily layout summaries first, you can select the calendar there, select the date, come over here to notes. We'll just type some gibberish just so we can see it. Now, you have to hit preview before you can save it, but this will allow you to see what it's going to look like on the receiving end if you were to email that out.
That's something Dad will want to see, like, whenever we use this thing.
Alright, so here's our report, and then you can see date, time, job name. There's where your notes pop up. Layout session 1. It shows you the control points you use, the coordinates, the quality. Now remember, that has to do with that triangle, so that really doesn't matter. And the distance away from the instrument. Then you see session 2. So when does session 1 stop? When does session 2 start? Two different ways. Let's say we start first thing in the morning, get turned on, connected, start laying out. If we don't touch this screen for 15 minutes, session 2 automatically begins. If it's more of a logical situation, which would be you set up first thing in the morning, probably going to be rocking and rolling, hauling ass through the job site. If that's the case, session 2 is not going to begin until you break setup at your next location. When you get started up, turned on, connected, session 2 begins. So if you scroll down here to the bottom, it'll show you all the points that you laid out, as well as your horizontal and vertical deltas. Y'all have done pretty good so far. So, and that's that right there. So we don't have to save it, but if you hit save, it'll be under your Trimble Field Link folder under reports. So go into the next report. Got layout deviations. This just will give you a list of every point, including the description, coordinates, and deltas of all the points you laid out. So for today, like I said, that's everything you guys have laid out. Pretty simple report. The last one is the most detailed report, which is your field report. So name, we'll just put some notes. So pictures. As you see, there's a folder right there. So if you needed to add a picture to this report that was already saved in your images folder, you could browse through there. Or if you wanted to take a picture, if you hit that camera button, by default it'll show the tablet. So you can take a picture with the camera on the tablet, or if you select that, you can take a picture with your Trimble Vision using the camera on the robot. So just for the hell of it, let's use, now real quick, see how all those points are yellow? This right here, you'll see that in your Trimble Vision screen, which is essentially what we're using, but that has influence over the coloration of the points.
Okay.
That way you can change it to help you see it better. Yeah.
Too late out.
All right, so let's just take that picture just so we can see how it looks. Did it go? I don't know if it took the picture, but we'll see. It didn't take the picture, but it'd pop up right under here.
Okay.
So same deal, you save that, it'll be under your reports folder under Trimble Field Link. Let's see, that covers all that. Create, we already went over all that stuff. I got an idea. Let's go check out some more joystick features that we have not seen. So again, when you have your bullseye button there, if you just open up that zipper, that middle button there. So in laser mode, I think this works a lot better in laser mode, but if you're shooting stuff with the laser, you can move it around like that, and that laser will move around. I'm gonna get it locked on us real quick. So real quick, if you open that up, this button right here, if you select that, I personally wouldn't use this, you know, like I hadn't found a logical way I could use this, but that lets you view your drawing from God's perspective. As you can see, that can be a little strange, you know what I'm saying? So onward and forward with that. All right, so your joystick, you guys already played around with your up and down, left and right slider bars. This right here, rabbit, turtle, like old tractor or lawnmower, that has influence over the speed in which the robot turns when you're using your slider bars here. So that right there would be, or let's go over this one first. That's your vertical lock. So, man, I don't really think that you sheet metal guys would use that a lot, but essentially if you need to check if something's plumb, you could turn your vertical lock on like that, put it on the side of a column or whatever, and use your up and down slider bar, and it's gonna lock it in the vertical. That's just kind of like the free spin or whatever you want to call it. So the horizontal lock, unfortunately for me personally, that doesn't work like I think it should or like I wish it would. Because how I think it should work, knowing how the vertical lock works. Let's say I put it at the top of that window up there, or we'll say that gray stripe. So that makes me think if I put that laser at the top of that white stripe or gray stripe right there and spin it left to right, it'll maintain that elevation.
Yeah.
Not the case. So how that works, whatever position your robot is in, it'll lock it in that position. So essentially, if I put it at the top of that gray stripe up there and went left to right, it's gonna travel up and then back down. You know what I'm saying? So I hadn't really found out a bunch of ways to use that. So again, that's something you guys can kind of play around with. The nudge buttons. So these 4 buttons here are mainly used for laser work. Now, you have to tap it, you can't just hold it, but man, after some hardcore measurements, I have discovered that 4 clicks of any of these nudge buttons will move your laser a 1/16 of an inch. So wow. 64th per click. Now, like I said, that's probably, I would say, mainly used if you're doing as-built stuff or having to shoot something, need to dial into something real precise. That'll help you get there. So we already went over the panoramic feature, right? Did you get that on video yesterday?
Yep.
Okay, cool.